Okay. Um, I don't want this channel to become something that like is just covering every single new possible little detail about The Last of Us or The Last of Us 2 that comes out. Because honestly, I want to move on. I think the first game is pretty good. Haven't played the second one because I'm not interested in it. But as I frequent Twitter, which I am wont to do, even though I no longer want to do it, just another day on Twitter is another discussion that you see about what happened to Joel and whether it was right for that character, whether or not he deserved it, whether or not it was just payback consequences for things that he did in the last game, blah, blah, blah. And I've seen a lot of people talk about whether he did the right thing in the last game. And so that's what I kind of want to focus on today. I did watch that game theory that came out recently about The Last of Us, where Matt talks about, like, the virus wouldn't work, or no, not the virus, the vaccine wouldn't work because you can't harvest a vaccine from a fungal infection. That's not how funguses work, that's how viruses work, that's how bacteria work, stuff like that. I don't care. I understand that this is a world of fiction. That is not the focus of today's video. I'm not going to be sitting here relaying to you what Matt had said. Honestly, I do want to talk about that channel in general at some point, but that's a video for another day. I've been putting that off for a long time. I'll get to it at some point. But still, we're going to be talking about in the world of The Last of Us, with the information that we have, and with some speculation you can do based on what we know, what we see, and what we experience in the world of the game. Would the vaccine have been the optimal route? Would it have worked out for people in the long run? That's what I want to talk about. So, first thing I want to mention is that the Fireflies are not exactly the smartest people in the world. When you get to Utah, not Utah, that's where the game ends. When you get to Colorado, and you get to that school, it's supposed to be like the final destination. Oh, well, this is where the Fireflies are, this is where you're going to be able to do this thing. You find out that you can't because the Fireflies there are dead. Now, this is something that I mentioned in my sustaining mediocrity about the game. That the Fireflies who were responsible for trying to figure out a cure a long time ago ended up dead because they were so stupid as to let their test subject, an infected monkey, bite them. Or maybe he just bit one, blah, blah, blah. But no matter how that ended up going down, their incompetence, their mishandling of their only test subject got them all killed. Now, with that being the case, could they have made a mistake? Sure. But that's not a situation where you can afford to make a mistake. This is a monkey with an infection. It's going to be pretty hard to contain. You have to be very careful, and you have to be smart about how you go about testing on this monkey. They were not careful. They were not smart. They died. Who was to say that people from the same organization, just a couple states over, wouldn't make a mistake with Ellie? Maybe, I actually don't remember Abby's dad's name, sorry. Maybe that doctor, though, he gets nervous, the pressure gets to him, he slips up, he cuts something wrong. Ellie's gone. Maybe they screw around, trigger some sort of latent infection in Ellie. She wakes up as an infected, bites them all. That's probably not going to happen, but still, I mean, you're dealing with someone who is immune to a fungal infection, but the infection did spread through her brain, like through her, she got the infection, it spread through her whole body. So the rules on what can or can't happen aren't exactly set in stone. But in that same vein, as the Colorado branch of Firefly scientists, who's to say that these guys are any smarter, Then you have the resources that the Fireflies actually have at their disposal, right? They have this one facility where they're doing all of their work. The Salt Lake City Hospital, I think it's like St. Mary's Hospital, is basically their hub, right? They would have to have all the supplies necessary in that building to mass produce this vaccine. And that is assuming that they actually get one that works. Because here's the thing, like, you have to derive vaccine alpha version, right? And then you have to test that on somebody. And since you're not going to be able to turn an infected back, you have to use it on someone who's not infected yet, and then have them get bitten and see if they turn. So the first couple people that get hit with this vaccine are going to still get infected. That's just how testing a vaccine works. The first 5, 6, 7, 20, 30, 100, 1,000 people, who knows how long it's going to take for them to actually get this thing right. The first batch of people are going to get infected. That is not something that can be avoided, even though this is a video game. We harp on realism. These people that are defending what happened to Joel are all about, this is real, this is the real world. That's how vaccines work. So, assuming that they have the supplies to make all these test versions of the vaccine until they get one that works, they would still have to make a lot of it, mass produce it. They would have to try to account for how many people there are that still aren't infected and make a vaccine for each of these people. They don't know how many people there are. They can't find out how many. What are they going to have, a census? They're just going to drive around the country going up to every settlement and assuming they don't get shot on sight, because people don't like the Fireflies, so we'll get to that. They're going to have to just ask, hey, how many people are there in your camp? 7? Okay, cool. Report that number back, hoping that the Fireflies don't die on the way there or on the way back, and that by the time they come back with this vaccine, hoping they didn't die on the way there again, that nobody in that camp died or got pregnant or they didn't find anybody new. There is no palpable way to make sure you have enough for everybody. There could be 100 million people still alive. There could be 10 million people. There could be 175,000. We don't know. They don't know. And you just can't be sure. And if it is up there in the millions, they sure as damn hell do not have the resources to make enough for everybody. That's how it's going to end up working. I'm sorry. Now, I mentioned earlier, people don't like the Fireflies. Let's talk about that. The Fireflies are like a tyrannical, self-imposed government over this post-apocalyptic America. Is that fair to say? I think it is. I played the first game. And as such, a lot of people, Joel included, don't much care for them. A lot of people really don't care for them. So much so that they would probably kill them on sight. So, imagine the vaccine works, and they have enough of it to go around. They're driving to this area where they know there's people. Maybe they're trying to set up like vaccination zones or something like that. I don't know how they would possibly go about doing that. But imagine they're just driving to, I don't know, Chicago, right? And people are waiting for the Fireflies because they heard, hey, the Fireflies are going to come through soon. So they set a trap. The truck that's transporting the vaccine hits a landmine or something, knocks the damn thing over, and the Fireflies inside are killed. The truck would be raided, and people might or might not know that that is a vaccine in there, and if they do, they'll take it. They'll be inoculated. But if they don't, they'll probably either think it's a drug and just try to get high, or think it's some sort of like poison that the Fireflies are using to cull the weak or something like that. This would be a strange liquid in a syringe. These people would not know what it is. They probably would not be too trusting of it, just as they are not too trusting of the Fireflies, the ones who made it. I honestly can't see it going down in a way where they can actually get the vaccine to the people without any hiccups. Now, sure, not every Firefly vaccine transport vehicle is gonna get ambushed like that, but a lot of them will. And it's very possible that a fight will break out even if people don't attack the Fireflies. Maybe people just won't be too privy to getting poked with something that they're being told is a vaccine for the cordyceps fungus. They can't know. They can't know. The only way to know is to get somebody who they know, quote unquote, know, has not been hit with this vaccine already, hit them with it, have them get bitten by an infected, wait about a day or two and see if they turn or not. You're going to have a very hard time selling to people that this is some sort of miracle vaccine that if they take it, they will not turn into an infected. But even then, they could still die to an infected. A clicker could still rip their jugular out. You know, they could still get burned by a shambler or suffocated by spores when they're up against a bloater. They're not just death-proof by the infected now. They can still die. It's still a very serious concern. They do still have to be almost as careful as they were before, but now they can get bitten a couple of times and not have to worry about it. But that's another thing, like, how many bites will the vaccine actually shield you from? Does it just shield you from infinite? And then the only way you would die from that is blood loss or something like that? That's an interesting thing to know. But the last thing I want to talk about here is the Fireflies themselves. There's a reason people don't trust them. And as I said before, they're like a self-imposed tyrannical government that's reigning over this post-apocalyptic America. And as such, their word is law. I don't know too much about the WLF and The Last of Us 2. Maybe they're like a rival organization type of thing. But as it stands, the Fireflies pretty much martial law things. Like, they have the quarantine zones, they have the curfews that they enforce, all that good stuff. If you make a vaccine that can save the world from this cordyceps fungus, and you put it in their hands, you might as well just not even make it. Who knows what type of rules they would put in place, how they would use this vaccine to manipulate the people who join us, or we won't vaccinate you. Or if we happen to vaccinate you, you now have to work for us, or we'll put you down. Or like, maybe since they, you know, like they have their frontline soldiers, I'll probably inoculate all of them and have them like round up some zombies or something like that, lock them in a cage, let them get real hungry, real angry, and then just let them loose on people. And it's like, hey, we can save you, but we'll have to vaccinate you. And if we vaccinate you, you gotta work for us. That, like, there are so many ways for a scummy organization / group / terrorist sect, basically, like the Fireflies, to use this vaccine to rule the world. And I don't even think I'm reaching. I legitimately don't think I'm reaching. I mean, think of when you get to Salt Lake City, right? Ellie almost drowns. Joel's trying to resuscitate her. And some Fireflies walk up and they're like, hey, put your hands up. And he's like, hey, I'm trying to save her. She doesn't know how to swim. She's drowning. I want to make sure she doesn't die. I brought her here for you guys. So not only are they drunk with power, they're also kind of stupid and don't have any deductive reasoning. So they knock Joel out in the final act of the game takes place. So you have a tyrannical organization, for one, that's drunk with power, for two, not very smart, for three, and under-equipped for the task at hand, and finally, not trusted by the general public. There is absolutely no reason to believe that the Fireflies are A, the people to trust with the vaccine, B, the people who are best suited to make and deliver this vaccine, and C, even capable of harvesting the vaccine in the first place. And again, none of this has to do with whether or not you can get a vaccine from a fungal infection. I don't care. That's the least important detail about this whole thing. Just based on the information in the game, assuming that it had worked out, would it have actually gone according to plan? I don't think so. I think even beyond just a protecting your own, like fighting to protect that which you love, Android 16 type thing, I think even beyond that, Joel made the right decision. I don't think Joel had considered any of that. I think it was just, you are threatening to kill this girl that I have come to love as my own daughter. I won't let that happen. And even looking at it from a perspective like that, he may have potentially doomed mankind, right? That's what a lot of people are saying to me. He doomed mankind, blah, blah, blah. Not only do I not think that he did that, but I think that in that moment, he knew that this was the best shot at a vaccine, but he didn't care. So even from a perspective like that, I think he made the right decision. Because, no, he did not give Ellie a choice in the situation, but did the Fireflies give Joel a choice? Did they ask him if it was okay for them to kidnap Ellie, keep her sedated, and cut her head open, and poke around in her brain until they figured out what made her tick? They didn't ask him any of that. So of course, upon finding all this information out, after waking up from being knocked unconscious by these guys in the first place, I think he made the only human, rational, correct decision. Now, I'm not a father. I don't know how he felt for Ellie. I have never felt for anyone or anything the way that he felt for Ellie, but I know that in his world, according to what he knows, what he believes, and what he thinks, he made the right call in saving Ellie, and nobody will ever convince him otherwise. And no one will ever convince me otherwise. Bottom line is, Joel did what he had to do. And it's kind of not up for debate. But if you want to debate, that is fine. And let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think that the vaccine would have worked out? Do you think Joel made the right call? Let me know. I'm very curious. But with all that out of the way, see you next time.